Tonight, our special transmission as K-pop fans demand exclusion of supporters of Israel's war from its management. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Zahra Sayed. Today is the 146th day since Israel started its indiscriminate war on Palestine. Despite the interim ruling by the International Court of Justice, Israel continues to attack Palestinian civilians. Gaza Health Ministry reports in the past 24 hours, Israeli strikes have killed at least 193 Palestinians. Another 920 have been injured. Many Palestinians are still trapped under the rubble. Volunteers are unable to rescue them. Global condemnation is pouring in against the horrific killing of Palestinians gathering aid. The indiscriminate firing by Israeli forces on hungry Palestinians has left 112 dead. 700 have been wounded. The incident took place yesterday early in the morning. The European Commission terms the incident as, quote, a heinous massacre. The Commission is demanding an urgent investigation. China has also condemned the killings and is urging for an immediate ceasefire. The World Health Organization reports 4 more children have died from starvation and dehydration in Gaza. This brings the total number of child deaths due to starvation to 10. The death toll continues to mount. At the time of writing, at least 30,228 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli attacks. Most of these casualties are women and children. Another 8,000 Palestinians are presumed dead under the rubble. 71,377 Palestinians have been injured. Israel's revised death toll from Hamas's attacks stands at 1,139. In disturbing news, an Israeli minister is applauding soldiers for killing Palestinians who had gathered to collect aid. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir says Israeli soldiers were defending themselves against a threatening crowd. He says it is very important to support Israeli soldiers. The minister is also calling to halt humanitarian aid deliveries to Gaza. He says aid deliveries endanger soldiers. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has announced the suspension of all arms purchases from Israel. The move comes as Israel continues relentless targeting of Palestinian civilians in Gaza and the West Bank. Petro condemns the recent horrific incident of the killing of Palestinians waiting for humanitarian aid. He accuses Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu of genocide reminiscent of the Holocaust. Colombia's move signifies growing international concern over Israel's actions in Gaza. BTS fans are urging Hybe Corporation to fire CEO Scooter Braun for allegedly backing Israel in the Gaza conflict. Hybe Corporation is a South Korean multinational entertainment company. K-pop fans are part of a movement advocating divestment from Zionists in the industry. Fans sent a truck to Hybe's Seoul headquarters displaying demands and clips showing devastation in Gaza. They accuse Braun of legitimizing Israeli violence. BTS is the world's top K-pop group. The group faces increasing pressure to cut off Zionists from the company. The boycott, divestment, sanction movement in Korea supports the campaign. It is reaching out to other major K-pop agencies as well. Fans are also criticizing industry figures linked to Israel and are calling for global solidarity with Palestinians. Last year in December, Braun spoke at a rally in Tel Aviv calling for the return of Israeli prisoners and expressing solidarity with Israel. Hybe distanced itself from Braun's comments at the time. The company called Braun's stance a personal statement separate from the management. Canadian media outlet The Breach reports interruption by Canadian police during a lecture on Palestine at York University, Ontario. The lecture was titled The Palestinian Struggle for Liberation, Aspirations for a Decolonial Life. About 40 people were watching the lecture online. 20 others were attending in person. 2 officers entered the classroom. They say the university had called them to check out a major event and a possible protest happening on campus. The incident is raising questions about the university's stance on Palestinian issues. Critics say the incident reflects a pattern of anti-Palestinian racism within Canadian universities. The president of York Universities has also criticized a toolkit designed to facilitate discussions on Palestinian genocide. Observers say this further demonstrates institutional resistance. This is not the first time York University has been in the news for its anti-Palestine bias. The university made headlines in 2004 when it suspended a student without a hearing. He was banned from campus for supporting Palestine. Quebec's appeal court has upheld the province's secularism law. It has denied exceptions for teachers wearing religious symbols in English schools. The ruling maintains restrictions on civil servants like teachers and police from wearing religious attire and symbols at work. However, there are exceptions for elected officials like members of the National Assembly. The appeal court justices have ruled the secularism law does not go against the unwritten principles of the Constitution. Arguments in the Court of Appeal case were heard more than a year ago. At the time, the panel of judges hinted the case hinged on whether the bill disproportionately discriminates against Muslim women who wear the hijab. Quebec Premier François Legault praises the decision. Critics are expressing disappointment and plan to challenge the ruling further, possibly in the Supreme Court. Federal Justice Minister Arif Virani says there may be a national debate if the case proceeds to the Supreme Court. Prime Minister Trudeau has reiterated that he opposes the bill. He says he will provide federal support for a Supreme Court appeal. Afghanistan's Taliban-led administration has concluded a $35 million deal with Iran. The deal involves developing Chabahar port and its free economic zone. A high-ranking Taliban delegation was in Iran to discuss details of the investment. Despite strained Tehran-Kabul relations, the Taliban aims to access international waters through this investment. Like many other countries, Iran has not formally recognized the Taliban government. An Iranian newspaper reports that Taliban's investment will be used in the construction of a 25-story high-rise building. Hassan Qazemi Qawmi, the Iranian ambassador to Afghanistan, says the two countries are also working on opening a transit corridor through India and China. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad. Assalamu alaikum.